Hi. In my experience as a teacher, there seems to be a lot of misconceptions, misunderstandings about the idea of the Qua. What is the Qua? The Qua is a Chinese word, obviously. The hip gates, the part of us that connects the upper and lower parts of the body. So this area from our solar plexus down to the bottom of our torso, front and back, is all related to the Qua, and the Qua is related to our life force in our Jing, right? So the Jing is how we manifest physically, is through the Jing. So there's a lot of mystery involved in all these in all of these ideas, but the Qua is basically, our ability to be soft and release the tension that's holding on to our organs in this part of our body, and our ability to move freely, free our sacrum and free our tailbone, the sacrum, right? Sacrum, sacred. So yoga talks about the sacrum a lot. Qigong, Taoism, the sacrum, they don't talk about the sacrum, but this area of the body holds a lot of tension because we sit in chairs, we poop in toilets, and so people are amazed that they're supposed to be able to internally and externally rotate their legs. Yes, it's gotten that bad. I've seen it in class. I've seen the look of amazement on people when you talk about the internal and external rotation of the leg. They don't do that much in yoga classes. Yes, you get to sit cross-legged, and that externally rotates your legs to a degree, but the internal rotation of the legs doesn't happen a lot. So only, martial artists and dancers, they're a little more, and movement people, have discovered this. But opening the energy of the Qua and losing the tension that binds us down there, freeing our sexual and creative energy, freeing our life force. The low back, how many people have tension in their low back? I would say half the people that I see have a great deal of tension in their low back, and they have an anterior pelvic tilt because they're tight in the Qua. This is practical. You walk differently when your Qua is tight. You stand differently. You are less relaxed, and it's more likely that you're squashing your organs. So I want to go into the Qua. Now, for a thorough explanation of the Qua, you might want to find Tina Faulkner Elder's wonderful YouTube video about the Qua, which I will link in the description. And she's a wonderful teacher. And anyway, so let's get into the Qua. So what is the Qua? So the Qua. We have the inguinal V. This V, the bikini line, this V, right? At the corners of the V, I've talked about this before. We have these liver 12 points, right? In the very corners of the V. If we relax, this is the key to opening the Qua. So we want to relax here. Now, when the Qua is released, one hip moves forward and the other hip moves back. Right? When the Qua is not released, it's the external muscles of the hips, and we rotate the hips, right? This is external movement. This is internal movement. So getting this to happen, getting this to work, allows you to internally and externally rotate the leg. It's a good thing, we have this freedom to internally and externally rotate the leg. The other thing we have is we have the ability to soften and release our low back. So usually we have a lot of tension in our low back, and this comes from being very short in these, in our groins, right? Because we tend to be like that all the time. We're always compressing here, and so we don't understand how much space there is supposed to be here. So there are some basic exercises. I'm hoping that this isn't the only video I end up doing about the Kwa, but there's some basic exercises that can help you to find, first of all, find this region, and secondly, to open up the space inside, relax your lower back, and be happier and healthier through this work. So remember, we have these points. If we soften these points, right, you find that to soften these points, the knees have to soften, and then you can feel this in your low back. You can feel your low back start to release. So we're not just dealing with the front here, we're dealing with the back. As the low back releases, it makes room for your kidneys. We really, the patterns that we adapt have really put a toll on our kidneys and our adrenals, which we overwork. It's a different story, a different time, different video. But because relaxation is the key to opening your body. It's like, it really is. It's not hard work. That doesn't open you, that strengthens your external being. And nothing wrong with that, but you need to relax, be able to relax that same external being by strengthening the internal being. If we can relax here, we feel our tailbone release. This is where this movement begins. By releasing the tailbone and bending the knees, that's where it begins. So when the Kwa is open, we have freedom. We have freedom of our tailbone. We have freedom of our low back. When the Kwa is not open, we tend to fall into our steps because the hips are moving from the outside. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not much. We fall into our steps. When the Kwa is open, the legs can swing. They just swing. They just swing because there's freedom in here. And leg swings are definitely one of the exercises that really helps to open the Kwa. Traditionally, we come weight into the right leg, right? So this has to sink down. This has to soften in order for you to come down without leaning and being wobbly. And then in order to put this foot out and not put weight on it, right, and balance on this leg without being tilted, people tend to go, whoa, and tilt. So you have to sink down towards your instep, right? So towards kidney 2, which is at the arch, right? And that connects to the knee, and that's a straight line. And then your shoulders can be over this leg. Okay, so then if we put the ball of the foot down, the heel of the foot down, and shift the weight, now the weight comes to here, right? Then we don't go up and down. We have control. In order to shift the weight to this leg, I have to sink into here. I know this is elementary. Picking up the foot, bringing it over, right? So this is the first drill we're going to do. We're going to just shift the weight to the center, shift the weight to the side, pick up the foot. The knees stay at the same level. The knees stay forward. Shift the weight side to side. Shift the weight. Shift the weight to center. Shift the weight. Pick up the foot. Step forward. Shift the weight forward. And back. So shifting the weight forward and back, forward and back. So the arms, right? What do you do with your arms here? You can rotate your elbows and connect your upper body, and this helps to release your shoulders, actually. Just the rotation. I'm not doing this, by the way. You might think I'm doing this, but in fact, I'm just rotating my shoulders. This helps our balance. And there's a connection now between the knees, what's going on in the knees, and the elbows, and the shoulders, and the hips. Right, so now my hips are both pointing forward when I do this. I'm straightening, and first, you don't have to straighten this leg all the way. The key to this is to stay level, is to keep the hips at the same height. Shifting back, coming back to Wuji. Sinking down here, not leaning to the side, but sinking down. Finding my weight on this foot, but through here, so I'm grounded, right? The weight is in the ball. The weight is in the center of my foot, but my attention is between my first and second toe, up in the point where they come together. And then I lift my heel, and I can step forward and do the same thing. So shifting back and forth. So the knees stay at the same level, the hips stay at the same level. I'm not coming up and down. So just to sink a little bit at a time. The back foot is about 15 degrees. The front foot is forward or a little bit. Traditionally, it's 45 degrees, but you don't have to go there. Yeah, we're working on this right now. Picking it up. Coming back. So this gives you something, to work on. So this is just a simple introduction to the Kwa. And especially, for my students who are trying to understand why I do so much work for opening up down here. So there's a lot of exercises in my warm-up that also work on opening up the Kwa. And if you listen to the language that I use, you'll understand that this is definitely something that is on my mind when I'm teaching. But it's not just the Kwa. The body cannot unify into one organic piece. We're not a collection of parts, into one organic body without this energy being able to flow here. And when the energy can flow here, it flows everywhere else. When the energy can't flow here, it doesn't flow anywhere. So I hope you like this little introduction, and I hope that this is good. So I'll do more, and I'll try to do them more often. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.